tried to talk and work with the government regarding the Blue Ocean Prosperity Plan. But unfortunately, they simply have no desire to collaborate and work together in the interest of mutual benefit. It is their agenda and their way only. I wish to make it abundantly clear the fishermen of Bermuda support sound management practices, active enforcement of our existing regulations, and the practical protection of the island's fish stocks and critical habitat. We take pride in servicing our customers, practicing marine stewardship, and being a significant provider to Bermuda's food security. But in its current form has to stop. The Marine Spatial Plan in general and the proposed marine protected areas must be reworked with full consultation with us, the fishermen. Our position is, one, hold the Bermuda Ocean Prosperity Plan or any plan of a different name until the government/DENR, which stands for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, is held accountable for the management and enforcement of the protections already in place. Number two, enforcement of existing regulation. No new restriction should be considered for legislation until after the government/DENR does what they are supposed, as per the advice and recommendations from the Commercial Fishermen's Council and the Marine Resources Board. Any plan should include a comprehensive management and enforcement section. The current BOP does not include management or enforcement only. It makes reference that will be developed later and take several years. What is immediate is the proposal to permanently close specific areas that are economically important to fishermen. Three, factual and accurate data. The government/DENR should support the commercial fishermen who provide food security and not constantly work against them. Proper management can only be achieved if there's an accurate understanding, inclusive of historical baseline of all fish harvested, both commercial and recreational. DENR has absolutely no practical understanding of the current state of Bermuda's fish stocks, which can only be known through accurate historical data, coupled with a comprehensive scientific fish stock assessment study, which currently doesn't exist. On what basis was BOP developed? The government of Bermuda entered into a secret MOU agreement with the Wade Institute and buyers in April 2019. The MOU was deemed a confidential document at the time with strict non-disclosure obligations, including a requirement that there be no public announcements of the arrangements. The primary purpose of the MOU was to develop and implement a Blue Prosperity Plan, quote, designating at least 20% of Bermuda's waters as fully protected fisheries replenishment zones within the Marine Spatial Plan, unquote. The government therefore agreed, without any consultation whatsoever with the stakeholders, in particular the licensed fishermen of this island, to demarcate 20% of the island's waters as permanently protected waters. Bermuda, don't be fooled. This government has been working secretly in an effort to make a deal with overseas billionaires, not Bermudians, to close off large sections of Bermuda's resources from Bermudians for the sole purpose of getting access to our Blue Prosperity Fund. Yes, this is more about money than it is the management, protection, and enforcement of our environment. This government, and more specifically, this minister, is only interested in the promise of the Blue Prosperity Fund. Bermuda's fish stocks are healthy and sustainable, despite DENR not managing or enforcing the regulations that are already in place. The implementation of a draconian plan, such as BOP, is not required. What is required is for the DNR to work with fishermen and other stakeholders to discuss and understand the issues which are affecting our marine ecosystems. We don't need to be told by a foreign entity, either by direct involvement or subtle behind-the-scenes influence, how to manage and take care of our surrounding waters. The fishermen of Bermuda will not lie down while this minister puts his plan in motion. The minister needs to stop chasing the silver bullet that will supposedly solve our future energy challenges by using our environment as a token. Fishermen will do whatever is necessary to protect our heritage, way of life, source of income, and most importantly, ensuring that future Bermudians have control and access to our natural resources going forward. Okay. Members of the press, the general public, I'd like to welcome you to see our Bermuda industry, the fishing industry. All these gentlemen, men and women behind me, their livelihood, their way of life is being threatened by the BOP initiative and the minister's actions. So before I go ahead and answer any questions, I'd like to introduce you to them, and feel free, as the media, to talk to the gentlemen so that you, the media, and the general population of Bermuda who are listening can have a better insight and understanding about how exactly the fishing industry feels. The life, as I said earlier, the livelihood is threatened. They feel really aggrieved by the minister's actions. So feel free, as I said, to mingle with the fishermen, to talk to them, to hear their stories, to feel the pain that they are feeling, so that you, the media, and the population of Bermuda have a good understanding of what is going on in the industry. Thank you, sir.
Taking questions.
Any questions?
Yes, good afternoon, Bean Brothers. I'm going to step out of protocol and go first this time. And I'm going in with the interview I saw with the minister last night, who stated that the fishermen had more than enough time to state their grievances and blah, de, blah, de, blah. What's your initial reaction to that? Because my impression is that you weren't even there.
That's laughable, to say the least, right? From the very outset, before this, when this MOU was signed, everything was cloaked in secrecy. If they had any respect for the industry, they would have involved us before the MOU was signed. But no, what do they say? Non-disclosure agreements and such. They didn't want to hear from the stakeholders, the major stakeholders in a marine environment. The industry that spends more time in the ocean than any other group in the island, by a long ways, year round. We don't fish seasonally. We fish 360 days a year, 24/7. That's what our industry does. So when the minister makes a statement that had ample time, no, was insufficient time. He had a number of public meetings.
Did you go?
I went to the Somerset one, right? And they say I was only allowed a minute and 30 seconds. To talk.
Well, that's kind of like the media's only allowed 4 questions, but certain other.
That's correct.
More.
That's not fair. In a minute and 30 seconds, I was just not even ending my opening remarks. I had a lot to offer. As chairman of Fishermen's Association, as chairman as the Commercial Fishermen Council, which was picked by the minister. I had a lot to offer. I have a lot to bring to the table.
Okay.
I have a lot of information which I need to talk to people.
For the layman, because the brief don't Bob. They don't know about the billionaire side and this stuff
correct.
they're looking for in our area.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what you're talking about. But for the layman who says they have a problem with 20%, could you just break it down? Because I heard guys on the street saying they want you to get a license to fish from the shore. What exactly are you against when it comes to the restriction?
MPAs. The biggest stumbling block or threat to our livelihood is the marine protected areas. For some reason, the minister, his advisors, Rate Institute, and such want to initiate MTAs that would have an adverse effect on our industry. Instead of working with us to find exactly what is out there, instead of working with us to find out we're actively fishing, and because we don't fish one place all the time.
One of the criticisms I got when you guys announced this press conference was the Fishermen's Association doesn't understand that Bermuda's fish stocks are drying up. When we have long line fishermen out here not being monitored. For the record, what's your response to that criticism?
Fish stocks drying up.
You could actually 500 out there. That's not
Fish
true.
stocks drying up. If they had any common sense and sense of respect for the industry, they would have been discussing things with the industry, so they then would have a working knowledge about what's going on out there. Any fisherman will tell you here, there's nothing wrong about stocks. Of course, the powers to be, the senior fisheries officer would say, well, that's anecdotal information. You can't prove it. Well, I could take it one step further. I said in my release that what we need is comprehensive stock analysis done on our resources so that we could couple what the fishermen are seeing with the science, and then we will know the state of our resources before the minister goes implement new regulations.
Okay, last question. How many people would you say are here today? And what's your main message to Walter Rabin and your 36 PLP government should they wish to proceed? Because we've seen marches and we've seen petitions, and you know what happens to them, and it's always talk. What's your message?
Work with us.
And if they don't,
Well, you see what happens.
Then we got to take it to the next level.
which would be,
Lawyers.
We have a range of options which we are currently exploring. But we don't want to go down that road yet. How are some companies decent to sit down across the table from the fishermen and have a common goal, that is to sort out the problems that we are facing as a country in a marine environment? There are many, but we're willing to work with if they have any respect for the industry, which they don't now.
estimate on how many turned out today and why? Okay, but that's all you need to hear about. How many do you think are here?
About 150. About 150. Only them. Only them. Only reporters.
You want me to ask the question
Yes.
to the mic?
Yes. Sure.
Yeah, thank you, folks. I guess one of the queries that I had is the minister has spoken of, if we don't do this ourselves, if the British government is going to intervene and what have you. I was curious to hear what you had to say about that part. If we don't do this, that the British will, is effectively seems to be the message.
Yes. We understand what the British government requires from us. What we've got to do is sit down and work out something that is in the best interest of everyone. It's no problem sitting down and talking and discussing issues of importance that was set about satisfying what the British require. We have nothing against that. But we just got to have a mutual respect coming from both ways to sit down and work out the issues.
I guess my next question, Ciola kind of asked it, but if you don't get an invitation to sit down and have this discussion, what's next? What's happening next?
We're going to take the case to the people. This is just a start.
People.
Let me make this abundantly clear. Let me make this abundantly clear. They are the environmentalists. They might, for argument's sake, number a couple thousand. I guarantee you, the Bermudian population that rely on our energy to feed them as a sign of food security, they number tens of thousands. So make it abundantly clear again. We will take the message to the people. The people will understand what we're talking about. They can relate to us because a lot of them eat fish and a lot of them eat potatoes. I'm talking about the farmers now.
Brings me to the point.
That's right.
And something my brother missed out on. Something my brother missed out on. You asked about the 20%, yeah?
I believe I did, yeah.
You asked about the 20%. That 20% is not dictated by anybody where it is. That's our problem. We said, let's take the 20% offshore. Why are they touching our shelf? Where we all fish. That's what our problem is. You want to know who that is? Mr. Watson.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Name?
I'm Tom Watson. I've farmed around here for a little while. And we are finding ourselves struggling with DNR as well. Now, Jen, you just mentioned fish and potatoes. This could be the first year in the history of this country that they may not allow us to import seed potatoes to plant. I mean, think about that. We can hold that crop in here for I'm still got Bermuda potatoes up in my children. Mind you, they're not the government one, which barely works. And we are here because we're struggling with the same government entity. We've formed our association every now and again. There's several farmers out here in the crowd, but we are the primary food producers in Bermuda. We are food security. And I'll tell you what else. It's about time we had some input on this thing because, I don't know, some idiot was going to mash up $3.2 million in a guaranteed failed venture called vertical farming. No consultation. This crowd needs to get a grip. That's all I'm going to say. And we're behind you 100%, Fishman.
Any questions? My question, do you feel you're between a rock and a hard place?
Currently, yes. Yes, the government is putting us in a precarious position. We're struggling, we're fighting for our livelihood. Although our backs up against the wall now, we know with persistence, commitment, unity, that our backs, we will walk away from that wall stronger for the process, knowing that there could be a bright future for us in our industry. There could be a bright future for the people of this island, provided that we all work together as a unit for a common cause.
Well, one of my followers, the question is very simple.
Come here.
One question that just popped up on my feed is, do you think Bermuda is for Bermudians?
You mean the government? Answer that. Do you mean the government? Do you think the government is for Bermudians? It's been proven over and over and over and over that is not true, unfortunately. They are for themselves. And unfortunately, it said something came out yesterday on one of our chats, which uphold all of us. If it came public right now, I think it might be a mini war, right? But we can't because we're not out to fight right now, right? But right now, the way this group of people who's supposed to be supporting us, from food costs to importing product to security, it's just not there. We're not seeing it. So they need to pick up their stuff and start doing what they're supposed to do, because right now they're not doing it at all.
Thank you. Mr. Bean, if I just I'm going to talk loud. So if you could point out, these are the inshore and offshore areas that the Marine Spatial Plan determines are either highly protected or fully protected. Could you, looking at those, point to us what are the major problems with what they've put forth?
I'll take this one. I would start, a good question. I would start with the offshore zone. The island is charged with managing our offshore zone, which is 180,000 square miles. Now, under the minister's initiative, they want to create an MPA on the Seamonts, the Muir Seamont chain, and an area just to the south and west of that.
Can you point that out on the map?
Come on.
That's the area that they want to block off.
That's correct. But the thing is, They want to make it a no-take zone,
100%.
100%.
No fishing.
They're looking at protecting all the soft fauna down 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 feet of water. We as fishermen have no intention of fishing in that draft of water. We, in trying to develop our long-line industry going forward, not with a fleet of boats, with 2 or 3 offshore high-seas boats, we fish in the water column between the surface, actual surface, down to, say, 700 feet. They're talking about protecting something that's down thousands of feet, 10,000, 12, 15,000 feet of water. Why can't we work together, allow our industry to develop, at the same time, they can still protect the fauna that they're trying to protect?
So the minister said on to Bermuda Broadcasting that none of Bermuda's fishermen are fishing 100 miles out. He said that they aren't equipped, they don't have the boats, they don't have the training, and that there's all these other areas there on that map that they could fish other than the restricted areas. Is he accurate in saying that Bermuda fishermen don't have the equipment, don't have the training, and why is it a problem to restrict one area when there are all the other areas that are available?
His insulting our challenges, really insulting us. Currently, we have one active longliner, Mr. Mark DeSera. The minister is basing his comments on the activities of Mark DeSera this past year, where he's working one cement to the north and northwest of us. But that does not mean that this fisherman is not interested in fishing the cements to the east and southeast. He is fishing according to where the resource is at that particular time, based on water temperatures, temperature breaks, and all the science it takes to be a good long-line fisherman in the open ocean. The minister knows that we are trying to establish a long-line industry, not just one boat or 2, maybe 3 or 4, but we need access to the entire 180,000 square miles. Fish don't stay on one spot. We have to track. That's why they're called pelagic species. They move from A to B. If the fish at that time, the water temperature and water breaks are in that area, the more sea months, the fishermen have to have access to get that fish. They're not going to be there all the time, no. But it's our job as hunter harvesters to find the fish. That's how we make money. We're hunter harvesters. We have to have the skill set to track the resource, where to go, the moon phases, all of that. It's a science. It's just not a matter of going to sea and dropping a line in the water and hope for the best. Otherwise, you'd be out of business. Quick time.
Actually be catching sharks.
So, to touch on the inshore fishing, again, these restrictions, the concerns, specifically, what is the problem here that Bermuda's fishermen are seeing?
See these green spots on here? These green spots mean fully protected, 100%, 763 days, 65 days a year, okay? Even Christmas, closed, okay? The orange spot means half protected. The edge, the orange spots, and the yellow spots is protected as well. The first thing I'm gonna say is we have zero enforcement in this country. We've never had enforcement, and that's one of the big problems. You're talking about, you got 2 sections down North Shore that you can fish. And the unfortunate part is every one of these spots that got picked, we found them, not government. They go for what we tell them. One spot up here, we took fish results this year. They say it's a shortage of hinds. We made 1 drop, and I've had 5 guys here right now that were with us. I didn't even fish because that's how many hinds are there. We caught 200 hinds in 1 drop, and that was a slow area. The east end was worse. And that's something we're saying management. They don't have a clue what we're catching, when we're catching it, and where we're catching it. Without us, none of this exists. Okay, this is a fact. So people on this island got to realize the only way we supply you food is by us fishing. If we don't fish and we don't have the resources to do it, we're not gonna catch nothing. We proved it during COVID. Everyone behind me could not catch enough fish during COVID because they thought the world was gonna shut down. So what's happening now? So this government that is in power needs to come to the table and have a simple conversation, because your advisors are only getting their advice from us. Okay? So until they come to the table and sit up and talk to us, it's a waste of time. And it's more to the story than the Latin North, which I can reveal, but I'm not going to do it right now. Okay? It's a lot more to it. So that's my opinion. Okay?
I have a question.
Excuse me. Go ahead, love.
Just really quickly, did you invite anyone from the PLP government here to be here today to witness and listen?
No, this is a fisherman's event to rebut what he said to Mr. Shelton on TV, and to rebut everything else he said all through the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and everything else. Okay, we are rebutting it. We have not said anything yet about anything, but it's time for us to come out, letting the island know that everything they're saying is taken with a grain of salt, because it's bullcrap.
What about you, lad?
Yeah, good afternoon. My name's Ian Linnell. I operate an inshore business called Jump Them Burns. My livelihood is not made from the fish. My livelihood is made from tourists. Anybody in here knows me. I can vouch that I'm out there pretty steadily. Where you are closing off the inshore water, that's my business. Net guys, that's their business. You can't do, no, ain't happening. We're not the slayers of of all this. You're trying to tell me exactly. I release fish. People give me grief for letting go of a nice hog fish, bonefish, and all that stuff. You're not taking that away. No way in hell.
And I have one more thing to say.
I just have one more question. I'd like to invite you guys to consider expanding on your topic on Bermuda Rio one-on-one. We'll talk later. And bottom line, he mentioned hogfish. We don't do turkey, so I want to know, can I still get my hogfish for Christmas?
No, see, that's
I don't
a
care what size it is.
that's a
what we're
marketing
looking
thing. I would say, because I'm in a restaurant, if you don't know that, I do have hogfish right now.
for. I want a
Okay.
real one.
You're the third person to ask for a one. And they want a group shot, guys. And again, first and foremost, I want to thank Spanish Point Glow Club for allowing us to have this event here. We appreciate it. 3 thumbs up. See, this is one of our senior fishermen, by the way. Yep, you got it.
We have quite a bit of talk about the rockfish, how they're being overfished and all that sort of stuff. And I know I know the areas, well, I used to know them. We discovered, Wesley Smith, nicknamed Porncheck, and myself, discovered the rockfish spawning grounds down the east end. And we informed the fisheries or Department of Fisheries where those areas were.
Right there, okay.
We caught somewhere between, before it was protected, anywhere between 1 and 7 rockfish
right there.
every day for 3 months.
He found it.
That area now is still as strong as it was then.
And that's 100
I
years
will
now.
tell you that if you stop all of this, how are we going to live as fishermen in Bermuda? That's me.
Thank you. All right, guys, want a group shot? Go ahead, Monty.
I want to know how we can overfish this island with a hand line and a rod and reel. They took away our pots in 1990, right? How are we going to overfish this island with a hand line and a rod and reel? I mean,
Can't be done. Can't be done. Thank you, guys.
If I may ask one more question,
Yeah.
when it comes to the scientists, but Minister Roban said that Bermudian scientists like Dr. Tammy Warren, Sarah Manuel have brought local scientific resources to the table on the BOP steering committee concerning Bermuda's own waters. He says that our fisheries are well studied. Do you agree that local ocean scientists have played a significant role in BOP? And those of you who have sat on the steering committee, have you had any disagreement with the local scientists and they thought you've sold over what and why?
As far as I know, my brother's been on the boards. It's two of them, Mr. Danny Fox and my brother Alan Bean have been on the boards. And every single meeting they've been to has been World War III. They object to everything that's said, and the steering committee has said that's not true. They totally disregarded it. So everything that Miss Tammy Trott, Miss Warren, sorry, because she got mad if I call her Trott, all our information comes from us. When I said we went out the other day, this summer, June, to tag and research hinds. And it's the most hinds were ever caught legally in our life, okay? In an hour, we had 200 fish. And I got a few guys, all the guys that are on the boat are here right now. And I didn't even fish because they couldn't keep up taking. It was that much fish. So to say that we're overfishing or there's no fish around this island, come on, guys. Let's do some real research and do some studying, okay? Because right now you're not done any of it. Any of it. So for that minister to make that accusation, I want to take him out there fishing and let him try to see what these stocks are like because it's so adamant that we're out fishing. And the same way he's pushing this green thing, with trash and all that, they're trying to say the island's polluted with trash. I can talk to every last one of these guys breaking behind me right now, and you might see a pint of a percent of trash floating out there that comes from us, okay? We do not have trash in the water around this island, okay? Everyone's saying that we're polluting it. No one around here is polluting trash, mate. It comes from the rest of the world. If they're so keen on doing something good about the trash, get out there and start picking up the trash, you know? You want to do something, you want to spend some money, go clean it up. Nobody's stopping you.
So, from what you just said, and this is my final question.
Yeah.
The fishermen who were represented on the BOP steering committee, were they listened to at all?
No.
It's a resounding no. Mr. Fox and I sat on their steering committees. We could talk our heads off, make great points. But when it comes to voting, we're seriously outnumbered. Look at the composition of the steering committee, the groups that are on the steering committee. As a fisherman, with my fellow colleagues behind me, spend more time in that ocean, we know more about their stocks, the fish movements, and everything in the marine around surrounding Bermuda waters than all of these groups that represent the steering committee combined. But yet, because we don't carry PhD or doctorate behind or in front of our names, they don't listen to us. They listen to the scientists because they supposed to know it all.
They know nothing.
They know nothing compared to us when it comes to what's going on out there in our zone. Nothing. But because of who we are and who they are, no one listens to us. That's why we're here today. We need to be reckoned with and respected.
And again, I'd like to tell guys, thank you for coming. We appreciate your support, and you've done what we're supposed to do.